Welcome back. This is part 2 of Unit 1, Lesson 8. This is where we left off last time. we were looking at the view controller Swift. Now we're ready to take a look at Storyboard and play with that a little bit. So Storyboard is basically a visual representation. Ooh, that did not come out right. It's a visual representation of the app's user interface. It shows screens of content and the transitions between them. So we use storyboards to lay out the flow, or what we call the story, that drives your app. You see exactly what you're building while you're building it. You get immediate feedback about what's working and what's not, and you can make instant visible changes to your interface. So to open our storyboard, what we're going to do is we're going to select Main Storyboard on the left-hand side of the screen. If I double-click it, it will open a whole new window, and it doesn't matter, you can click it twice and work in a separate window if you would like. So here, when I click it, what it opens is the storyboard. This is the storyboard, and this whole window here we call the interface builder. The interface builder. It's visual interface editor. So this is an editor. Think of like a word editor, right? But this one's going to have really cool stuff, like we're going to be able to put buttons and labels and things and pictures on here. The background of the storyboard, this here is what we call our canvas. You use the canvas to add and arrange user interface elements like buttons, text boxes, etc. So right now our app contains one screen, which represents a screen of content in our app. This arrow here on the left-hand side points to the left side of the screen on the canvas, and it is our storyboard entry point. This is where, when you open that app, this is where what you're going to see first. Earlier in our part 1, we ran our app, we ran this application, and the simulator just showed a white screen. This is what it was showing earlier. Okay, so it's showing this was the entry point, and there's nothing on it, so it just showed us a white screen. Let's see. What else do we have on here? Oh yeah, let's take a look at this at the bottom here. So even though the canvas, this is the canvas here, shows a specific device and orientation. Here's the device, iPhone 8, orientation. This is landscape, this is portrait, up and down. Even though it shows that on here, it's important that we create an adaptive interface. And remember that our simulator was set to iPhone 7. So when we ran our app, we ran it in iPhone 7 simulator app. The view in this scene is what you saw earlier. However, the canvas may not have had the same dimensions. And let me think, iPhone 7 and 8, I don't know if they have, I think iPhone 7 and 8 have the same dimensions. But let's say we went like from a 4 to an 8. We know those are going to have different dimensions. So if your simulator is set up as an iPhone 4 and your view, your interface builder is set as iPhone 8, then it may not look like what you expected. But again, we'd set it up to be an adaptive interface, so it should look okay. But at any point, what you can do is you can change these here and run on the simulator to see what it looks like. So let's say you're built it on an iPhone 8, but you want to see what it looks like on an iPad. then you can choose one of those and run the simulator and see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and begin and build our basic user interface. This app is what we call a food tracker. This food tracker is going to have a button, a label, and a text. A button, a label, and a text box or a text field so that we can enter information. And so Xcode provides a library of objects. What we call objects are a button. A button is an object. A text field is an object. A label is an object. So these are our objects. Some of these are elements that appear in the user interface, like the ones I just mentioned. Others are such as view controllers and gesture recognizers. Define the behavior of your app, but they don't appear on the screen. So those are a bit different. But they're still objects. You just can't see them. The elements that appear in the user interface are known as views. Views display content to the user. So the elements that appear in the user interface, so those that we can actually see, we call it views. They're the building blocks for constructing your user interface and presenting your content in a clear, elegant, and useful way. All view objects in iOS are of type UI view, or one of its subclasses. So UI view is a class, and it contains subclasses. Many of the subclasses are highly specialized in appearance and behavior. So remember how I said if I can take a class, right, and I can borrow all its behaviors and then I can add to it. So it's really nice when they give me a class with already a bunch of behaviors and I can just add to it. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add a text field. So we're going to go up here. We're going to actually click on, right now notice that it says Xcode, but if I click inside the user interface area here, I'm going to click on, I'm going to choose editor. Oh, and it showed this information here. I'll talk about this too in a little bit. So we're going to click editor, canvas, and we're going to make sure that show bounds rectangles is selected. So editor canvas, show bounds rectangles. Notice when I click on that, there's our rectangle here is highlighted in blue. What show bounds rectangle does is that it causes the interface builder to draw blue bounding boxes around all the views in the canvas. Many views and controls have transparent backgrounds, so it makes it really difficult for us to actually see their size. So by doing this, we can really see where our views are, or our objects, like a text box. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to open the object library, and that is here. It's this little button. So you probably see something like this now, and you want to click on the round icon, and it says show the object library. You can do that. And you can also go to view utilities up here at the top and show object library. So either way, okay? So we have, you'll normally be here, you're going to click there. And then the next thing, or what we're going to see here is it shows us all the object names that we have available. It also has a description, and it also has a visual representation of these. So For example, this one is called Navigation Controller. Table View Controller. And it gives us a little description of what they are. Now I can quickly find what I want by clicking in the search box and typing what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for text. Oops. And as soon as if I type in text field, it'll just give me the one, but I typed in text, and what I want is text field. So that's the one that I want. It tells me a text field displays a rounded rectangle that can contain editable text. When a user taps a text field, a keyboard appears. So just think of like when you're texting, you've got a little text box, and then you click inside that little text field, and your keyboard appears so that you can start writing your text. And the text field can handle the input in an application specific way. UI text field supports overlay views to display additional information such as the bookmark icon. UI text field also provides a clear text control. The user taps to erase the contents of the text field. Okay. So you can click all of these and take a look at all of them and explore them. So what we're going to do is anytime that you want to use these, you're just going to drag and drop your this is your object library, so you're going to drag and drop your text field object. Remember, this is an object, and we're going to drag and drop it inside our interface. Okay. And then you'll notice that there's some handles here on the left-hand side of your text field, and this is so you can make your text field bigger. So notice here, notice the blue line is telling me I'm there at the end, and then here. There we go. So I want my text field to be all the way across my screen. So I've resized it, and I can grab it. So once it turns into a little hand, I can click on I don't have a mouse, I'm just using my trackpad, and I can move my text field up and down. Okay. Notice that line that you see in the center, that's really nice. It tells you where the center of your screen is going to be. So we have the text field here, but we don't have any instructions to our user about what we want them to enter in the field. So we're going to use the text field's placeholder text to prompt the user to enter the name of a new meal. Sometimes you'll see text boxes inside, you'll see text. And what we want to do is we want to change that and tell it what to enter. So make sure your text field is selected. We're going to open the attribute inspector in the utility area, which is this right here, this little arrow, top right hand side, down arrow. It says show the attribute inspector. And notice that it says text field. If I don't have the text field selected, it won't show me the attributes for my text field. So if something happens, make sure you have it selected. So the attribute inspector appears, and it lets you edit all the properties of an object. Okay, so this object, just like a car, comes a certain way. And then we can say, no, I want the red car with the air conditioner and this really cool radio, and I want it to have these really cool wheels and blah, 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 and I want it to have a sunroof. That's what we're doing here. We take this object and we manipulate it and do whatever cool things we want with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the placeholder. So notice here, here says placeholder text. Just looking at it, I have color, font, alignment, if I wanted background image. Okay, so I'm going to click on placeholder, and we're going to type enter meal name. In a production app, just so you know, any string that can be seen by the user, such as the text field's placeholder text, should be localized. So that's just a little side note, and basically there's going to be a local place where we keep all the special words or things that we use so that we can be consistent. All the placeholders can be consistent throughout your whole app. Okay, so now we're going to press return to display the new placeholder text. So press enter. It's not showing it. Go back, text view. See what's going on. So I have a black, plain, 14.0. Just fit, content type. Okay, let's see here. Portraits. Okay, let's just run it and see what happens. So it's building food tracker. And it's launching food tracker right now. Still launching food tracker. Okay, so there it says right there, enter meal name. And then I have to figure out why it's not showing it in my interface editor. Okay, so we've added one object, which is the label. In the next section, we're going to add, I'm going to do a part 3 where we add a label. So right now, I'm going to stop my simulator, hit the simulator, and then I'm back. It says finish running food tracker on iPhone 7.